trees of green, and I know this too. I see the moon from me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky. I see friends shaking hands, say, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. What a wonderful world.
Such a beautiful rendition of that song.
So good.
It's that time of year now for that song and others to start playing on the radio.
So this wasn't my idea, but I heard on I think it was Louis J. Gomez said the other day, he was like, man, I just thought the best idea for a Halloween costume would be a black guy doing a white guy in blackface, like paint like all the rest of them in white and leave like his face black. I was like, oh man, that would be a good Halloween costume, and you could get away with it doing it that way, you know? I'd love to see that.
Did you see I don't know if you kept up with any football this weekend. Did you see the kid who was a Chiefs fan at the game with the headdress and the face paint and everything? Like apparently that shit is like strictly prohibited in the stadium. So somehow this kid like smuggled all this shit in and got his face all painted up and put the headdress on for the Chiefs game. It was pretty impressive. Of course, there were all kinds of people like raising hell about, oh, why is his face painted black? Oh, that's I can't remember. What's the word that they use for stealing somebody else's culture? How do you know that kid's
Cultural
not
appropriation?
Yeah, appropriation. Yeah. That's it. It's appropriation. How is this acceptable? You don't know that kid in the 16th Cherokee, he might.
Yeah, I've known people like in the tribe who look whiter than me. You know, you'd never guess. What up, Thirsty? Dude, you had a couple of them that you posted on Facebook, bro, that fucking slayed me the last couple days. The When's White Friday. Oh, that was fucking good. And then I don't know, I don't remember the other one.
Corey is a treasure to Facebook. The fact that they keep banning him is should be a federal offense.
Maybe maybe you posted the other one I'm thinking of, but is a Hallmark scientists at Hallmark are finally discover a second storyline or something.
I said that one, yeah.
Dude, we started watching some of the Hallmark Christmas movies last year. It's the first time I've ever seen any, and they are delightful. If you like to laugh at stupid movies, they are great. Soul Santa was my favorite, the black one. Yeah, if you can find a black one, that's good. A gay one's good too, and then pick you up a southern one or two. Those are always great. A Southern Christmas or something.
We were
South for the holidays.
We were sitting at my aunt's house Wednesday evening, and Katie sat down on the couch with me. She was like, "Let's watch some Hallmark movies." I was like, can we not? Like, this is a good time of year for football. Like, can we watch football instead? And I'm like, no, I want to watch a Hallmark movie. Luckily, she got distracted about like 5 minutes in, and me and Dad put on a basketball game. And we're able to enjoy ourselves. But, oh, my wife and the daughters are, and less the wife. She will entertain them with it, but the daughters are all about some Hallmark movies. Not because they think they're good movies, but more for the, like you were saying, like to watch the cheesiness and just kind of laugh at it. It's like a good B horror movie. Like, you're not watching it to be scared. You're watching it for the sheer entertainment value. And that's how the Hallmark movies are. It's like, oh, I know how this is going to go.
Yeah, there's some good people on Instagram who do some really good parodies and stuff of like typical Hallmark movie. It's a good time. Speaking of funny movies to make fun of, got about halfway into Rampage in 2018 with The Rock. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen that one.
I mean, it's a movie with The Rock. It's the same as any of them, but it's if that's what you're going into it with, it was just fine so far. Kind of funny.
I always hate when people complain. I always hate when people complain about movies like that. It's like it's a movie starring The Rock with giant CGI monsters based off of a like arcade video game where you destroy buildings. Like how complex is the plot going to be here? Like what is
I mean,
exactly.
It's like getting too upset at Fast and the Furious. It's a Fast and Furious movie. If that's what it is, you can have some fun. Do
you remember the movie Sucker Punch?
I heard of it. I don't think I saw it.
It was a Zack Snyder movie. It was wildly entertaining, but people were all kinds of mad about it, like that it was some terrible movie. It's like, what about any of the previews or trailers for this movie led you to believe that there was going to be some depth to it? It's going to be a bunch of chicks going and doing crazy shit and fighting against things. Like, that's all you need to know. Be entertained. Why do we have to complain about, like, if it's being set up as some like emotional roller coaster, great story type of a thing, then yeah, I mean, be upset if it doesn't give you a whole lot of plot or character development. But when every one of the trailers was just, here's all this crazy shit going on. Holy hell, what's going on here? This is going to be nuts. Just go into it expecting, hey, this is going to be fucking nuts. This is going to be a fun ride.
Yeah.
Why do we have to make things be more than what they are? Isn't fucking Gone with the Wind?
Yeah, I mean, the concept of stupid action movies isn't new. They've been in existence for a long time.
One of the questions to judge how trash a person is on the podcast, Are You Garbage, is how many Fast and Furious movies have you seen? Now, how garbage am I, Corey? Because I have seen 9 of the 10.
I like the concept of that podcast. I don't know if I managed to make it through a whole episode though. I feel like maybe the dudes on it, their voices bug me. But they were on. They came on Skanks or something years ago, talking about the podcast, and I really. I do really like those lines of conversation, especially when it comes to like food. How white trash are you? I try to be less and less white trash. Doesn't mean don't be simple, but
see, next time we do a, which I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the plan is that we're going to do a night before this Saturday night. We got to hold each other accountable for that. We have
this coming Saturday. Yeah, I should be able to do that.
Because this is the only Saturday that I'm really going to be available with holidays and stuff. Next weekend, we've got my wife's company Christmas party, so I'm going to be getting smashed because the HR department are the ones who handle handing out drink tickets, and I'm married to one of those, so I get all the drink tickets I want.
So it's on the roll still, the spool of tickets.
Just walk up to the bar with the roll and be like, "All right, this is mine. Just keep them coming."
Yeah, You just set them back there, rip one off for me every time. Go ahead and grab a couple for yourself, sweetheart. My wife, we're supposed to go to her company Christmas party, but she doesn't really work there anymore. So we're like, do we even want to go?
Just
and
go.
Then
free drinks.
I'm supposed to have one, like my job, but I never actually got the email about it. So I don't know.
So we got the company Christmas party next Saturday, and then the following Saturday is my birthday, and we'll be going out of town. And then the week after that is Christmas weekend. So if we're gonna do it, we gotta do it this week, which I think we had previously discussed, and that was the plan anyway.
What up, Steve?
Is it too loud with my car?
It's only a little bit loud. If it gets annoying, I'll just mute you.
Okay, good deal. So you guys were talking about the Hallmark movies. My wife watches about one a day.
Oh, and they really pump them out.
Yeah, she watches like one a day, and I swear it's the same movie every time.
Well, yes, effectively. It's same plot, recycled new characters. And it is funny how many of the actors and actresses on those are like people that used to be in TV shows, and I don't feel like I see them in anything anymore. And then they'll pop up on a Hallmark movie. It's like, oh, I recognize them from whatever the fuck that I used to watch back 10, 15 years ago. Nice to see that they're still in the business, I guess, to some extent.
I watched a movie the other night called Arachnoquake, which is exactly what it sounds like. An earthquake and spiders come out. And Edward Furlong was in it. And that was hilarious to me. I was like, oh, somebody's got a drug problem.
He did not age well. The drugs probably didn't help.
Yeah, but it is always great. It's like, who needs money? Sometimes it's gambling debts. You know, like, isn't that, oh, fuck, I can't think of anybody's name today. The guy stealing the Declaration of Independence.
Nick Cage?
Nick Cage, yes, in a million movies. I heard he's got a bad gambling problem.
Oh, he's a massive B actor now. Like, he does like 20 B movies a year now because he's just can't get the big box office ones.
I mean, I think he can still get the big box office once he just does everything that's thrown in front of him. So it kind of takes a little bit of the luster off of him. And he is kind of a typecast actor anymore. Like, he has a specific role that he's going to be playing most of the time.
Like, he plays the same character in every movie. Literally the exact same character.
Oh, who was it?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm trying to think of an example to prove you wrong, and I can't.
So does Owen Wilson, though. Owen Wilson only plays movies where he's Owen Wilson.
Yeah, that's probably fair, too.
He's the exact same character in every single movie.
I was trying to think who. Now I can't remember what the movie was. We watched something, and it was one of those actors that's really popular, and they're in everything. And I'm like, this is just like his rendition of this character. Like, it's him as the character. It's not. He doesn't have any like acting range. He acts as himself. Like Ryan Reynolds is best in movies where he's just Ryan Reynolds playing the character. But he also is a really good actor. Like, he has other movies where he is not just Ryan Reynolds playing the character, and those are really good too. Like, yeah, some character or some actors, it is, you know, oh God, who was it? Now I'm drawing a complete blank. Anyway, it's the actor as the character, or the character in the role in the form of the actor, not the actor actually portraying the character.
Yeah. Did you guys watch Loki, the second season yet?
No, I have not.
It's really, really, really well done. Like, it's probably some of the best writing that they've done for Marvel for one of the series.
It's one of those that I really want to watch it, but at the same time, Sean and I have been watching the new season of Invincible, and we also started Blue Eye Samurai, and there's a new season of Rick and Morty that we haven't caught up on yet. Like, it's like, yeah, you want to watch Loki? Well, yeah, but we need to finish watching this and this and this and what about this too? And so, and it's, I guess the superhero fatigue, or maybe it's just the Marvel fatigue has kind of set in, and it's like, I'm just gonna bump that one back down the list a little further. Like, I'm gonna get to it eventually. If somebody like really gave me a compelling argument that, hey, you need to watch this like right now, then I might just sit down and watch it myself. But I don't know. It's like the Marvels. Like,
did you watch the first season?
Yeah.
Okay. It's better than the first season, and it has one of the best character arcs they've ever done in any of their series with Loki.
Cool. I mean, we'll get to it eventually. Huh?
Yeah. I mean, it's only 6 episodes, I think, so it's really well done.
I do like that they keep their series kind of short, 6 to 8 episodes. It's pretty compact, not hard to get through.
Yeah, and they wrapped it up really good. They didn't, the ending in it was excellent. It wasn't drawn out. It wasn't like Lord of the Rings. They had like 40 endings for the movie,
Lord of the Rings is a piece of classic art. I mean, you can just pump the brakes on that.
No, it's Lord of the Rings is phenomenal, but the ending is like an hour and a half long because they have like that's to end each section of the movie.
My girlfriend and then my ex-wife, they would all make fun of me relentlessly every year when a new Lord of the Rings movie came out, because they always came out roughly around my birthday. I would just go see the new Lord of the Rings movie by myself. Like, I wasn't going to drag my girlfriend along with me because I knew she wasn't into that. So I just go watch it by myself. And then when the Hobbit movies were coming out, they always came out like right around my birthday. So I just go see the Hobbit movie by myself. My ex-wife would be like, "You want me to go to the movie with you?" I'm like, "No, I really don't. This is kind of my time, my thing." I got lucky. I was living in Pennsylvania, and when the third Hobbit movie came out, there were like select theaters across the country. They got an early release on that Tuesday, and they did like the 3-movie marathon, like the first 2 Hobbit movies and then the third one on an early release, like back to back to back. And as it just so happened, that was my birthday. So I took off work at lunch and went straight to the movie theater. And the theater there where I was living was one of the select theaters that had that. So I took off work at lunch and went and spent 9 straight hours sitting in a movie theater watching all 3 Hobbit movies back to back to back.
Did you like those?
I was so sore the next day, like just from sitting like that and not doing anything for 9 straight hours. It really.
Did you like the Hobbit movies?
No, but
okay, good. I'm glad because I was like, maybe I missed something, but they weren't great. They were.
The whole thing could have been done in one movie. Like, there was no reason to drag it out and make all this. They added way too much excessive bullshit, and like that's something that I always worry about whenever I see that a book series is going to get like split up into multiple movies, or like they're going to take the final movie and turn it in, or the final book and turn it into 2 movies. And it's like, all right, y'all are adding a whole bunch of shit. Like, how are you going to fuck this up? And I mean, that one was. The first movie was okay, but it was way too long and way too much bullshit to get from where it started to where it ended, especially book-wise. And then it's like, okay, if they're going to do this in 3 movies, holy hell, like this is going to be a lot. I didn't particularly like them. I didn't dislike them. I just didn't like them.
Yeah, they were just like, They weren't nearly as compelling as the Lord of the Rings movies. I don't know what was different about it. Maybe it was the writing. I'm not sure.
Well, like the Lord of the Rings movies, did you see the full length director's cut, like the 4-hour edition?
I have all 3 of those on DVD still.
Because like the regular movie release, they didn't have enough of the full book content. Like the 4-hour director's cuts, like went into all of the detail of the book. So that like those were those that was
Except for
the director's
Tom
cut was done
Bombadil.
right.
But except for the Tom Bombadil stuff, they didn't include that in it at all.
I mean,
What?
I'm
That's
trying to think of a
something.
reason why you would though. Like, it doesn't play a particularly important role in.
Yeah, I guess it's more the backstory of him that makes.
Right, like his role in the actual Lord of the Rings books was almost non-existent. Like it's more his backstory and everything that's what's compelling. So
Yeah.
It'd
be interesting if they would do a movie about him, but I think it'd be the same as The Hobbits. I don't think it'd be nearly as well done.
Did you watch any of the? We have completely like lost Dag.
Oh, hold on, that fucking hawk's back. I'm looking out my truck window right now. I heard my chickens going crazy. I just saw it perch up, watching my babies.
Did you watch any of the Amazon Prime Lord of the Rings Ring of Power series?
Yes.
How much of it did you manage to get through?
I think we watched the whole season.
You're a better man than I.
I
got through about 2/3 of the third episode, and I'm out. Like I can't keep doing this. Like there are literally 15 fucking books of history of the Lord of the Rings to pull from, and instead they just go like completely off script and make up their own random stupid bullshit. I've got the entire book collection over there, and I'm like, I can just read to you from literally any of these books and give you all the content you need without making it into some dumb bullshit. Oh, Dag is about to go. Dag, is it legal to kill hawks down there?
The only reason I didn't fire off a couple shots at it is
Put your gunfire. We know what Dag's doing.
I just had to scare him off.
Kill it, Dag. Kill it live on TV. There we go.
My tiny 22 pistol I have on me. Let me fire off a couple 30-yard shots. I might get lucky. Probably not.
Have I told about the owl in the chicken coop that one time?
Aim high.
Oh, did it walk in?
So I had it was a chicken coop built of pallets. So there was a spot like the nesting box and everything, but then the rest of it was kind of open so that the chickens had plenty of air and sun and everything. Well, I walked out one morning and we had an incident the day before where one of the roosters had like lost his shit and killed one of the hens. So then I had to kill him because, that can't let that go.
Yeah, you can't abide that.
Right. So anyway, we'd already lost 2 of them, and then I go out the next.
While I don't condone, I do understand. Like if she was nagging.
So anyway, I go out the next morning to feed them and check on them, and there's just like feathers and gore everywhere. I'm like, what the fuck? And there was like one of the hens was still okay, and then the other one was severely wounded. I was like, what the fuck is going on? I open it up, and an owl just comes flying out. I guess the owl had like gotten through some of the slats in the pallets, like we squeezed its way in there, and then just went to town murdering all of my poor chickens. So it comes flying out. As soon as it gets out of the box and takes off out over the pecan tree, 3 sparrows come out of the pecan tree and just start attacking the owl as it's flying out. Like, what the fuck is going on? This is like Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. I don't know what's happening. So,
dude, I love to see that. The little little birds. Yeah, I guess probably sparrows. Fighting off like bigger birds of prey. Just going nuts on them, or squirrels, or whatever gets close to their nest. It's a fucking trip. It's a fucking trip. We had, dude, in the tree next door, like once every couple months, all these birds will like gather there, and they're pretty small, but they're squawk, 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 just all day. It's just a cacophony of bird squawking. It is insane. And I don't know why they always choose that tree. Maybe it's just en route to something else. I don't know. Birds are kind of neat, man. I never cared for birds until I started getting chickens and shit. And I'm like, oh, they're pretty cool. Then, of course, there's crows. Oh, I was over at a friend of mine's house, and they feed a bunch of birds and shit in their backyard, and a bunch of them come through. And they were throwing peanuts out there, and these crows would come, and they wouldn't, like, they take the peanuts over to these, like, pans full of water, and they'd eat them, like, over the water. And we were thinking it's because it makes it easier to collect the pieces when they break them up, you know, because then they just float instead of them falling in the dirt. Or maybe they're just clean or something, but it was really interesting to see them going and doing that, all of them, you know, for some reason. That's the best we could figure.
Stephanie put a bird feeder out by the house back in the spring, and the bird feed that she was putting in it had like a bunch of sunflowers in it, or sunflower seeds in it. And apparently these birds around here do not like sunflower seeds, because we ended up with a whole little like patch of sunflowers just growing. Like they would kick all of the sunflowers out of the feeder and eat everything else. So we had a pretty impressive sunflower patch that we did not plant or intend to have.
Yeah, that's where I get my my black oil sunflower seeds from. You can either like order them for like a lot of dollars a pound, or you can go buy a 40-pound bag for like, you know, $17 at the feed store, and it's the same shit. So if you're trying to do like, you know, microgreens or something, like you can just buy the seed from the fucking feed store, and it's way cheaper. Or even like to make feed for your birds, or just to be pretty. It's just those type of sunflowers don't get super tall typically. It's not like a mammoth sunflower that gets 7 or 9 feet and, you know, flower head like that. But they're nice to have. The only real downside of growing a lot of them is they're allelopathic, so sometimes stuff doesn't grow next to them as easily or in the same place as easily.
Yeah, Stephanie, I had a garden a couple years ago, and Stephanie had planted a bunch of those sunflowers like around the outside of the garden, and everything close to it was like really stunted. And then after the sunflower headed out and made a nice head, I, you know, cut that off and then cut the sunflower down and pulled the root up. And then all the stuff next to it that had been real stunted and not doing anything, suddenly just like, whoo, massive immediately. It's like, so your fucking sunflowers were draining the life out of the rest of my garden.
Yeah, it's some chemical it puts down or something just to, you know, inhibit competition. So it wears away, you know, relatively quickly. But yeah, there's a few plants that do that. That's the only one I know offhand other than black walnut, but I don't have black walnut here, so I don't care. There's probably more though.
I did pumpkins this year, and they ended up overtaking most of the garden. I was like having to be out there every day, like moving the vines and getting them to go where I wanted them to, because they were just trying to consume everything.
Yeah, dude, we've never done pumpkins before, and she planted some Seminole pumpkins, which are like these little Florida pumpkins, out there, and between them and the watermelons I planted, each of us only planted like 3 plants. It basically took over, you know, half to 3/4 of our 2,500 square foot garden area, you know, and even it's creeping out of the fence now. They've gone over the fence or through the fence, you know, and they got stuff going on out there too. So it's yeah, man, it really took over. So we know now, you know, we can plan for it a little better next year. But yeah, they went crazy. She actually made for Thanksgiving pumpkin pie from Seminole pumpkins that her mom grew, where we got the seeds from. So yeah,
we did butternut squash one year, and the plant just we put it on a corner of the garden, kind of because I knew it would go nuts, and I thought if I keep it over here in the corner, I can kind of keep it under control. There was a big bush next to the side of the house, and it climbed up the bush, and then it started going across the wall on the side of the house. So we've just got like massive fucking butternut squash hanging off the wall of the house, outside wall of the house, and hanging off of this bush. It's like, well,
made your house look masculine.
It definitely gave it an interesting look. It was it's like we've learned a lot over the years of what to what to isolate and give it its own space so it can go and do its thing and not overtake literally the whole yard. I got the blackberry bush at the old house. It was growing under the fence and over the fence, and like I planted it in the back corner of the yard next to the fence, and it now controls like a good like 8-foot radius where it's just taking over everything. Like yeah, you can kind of mow and weed eat around it, but basically it's going to do whatever it wants to do.
You get any snow yet?
No, we're I don't think we've actually been consistently cold enough. We had one day a few weeks ago where it got down to like 26 or 28. But we've been mostly hanging around in the low 40s and even a few days upper 30s. I think today is about the coldest day we've had so far. Right now it's 30 even. I didn't realize it was that cold. I guess working in a non-climate controlled warehouse, I guess I kind of get used to the
30 degrees. Wow.
my mom and aunts have some family from Florida. And so this was our first time meeting them this past week for Thanksgiving. But I'm not sure what part of Florida they're from, but they don't get below 40 very often. So mm-hmm. It was kind of cool. It was in like the mid 40s most of the week, and they're all like freezing to death and wearing jackets in the house. Like,
yeah, it's actually might get into the 40s. And then it says 40s, which means there's actually a chance it'll get into the 30s here tonight. A couple days this week.
Does that mean the lizards are going to die?
No, the lizards don't die. I think they just hide away. You know, it is funny though. Like I'll come out in like the morning or something, like really cold morning, and move a board or something, and there'll be a lizard, you know, that was hiding out under the board, and it's alive, but it can't really run away or anything. It's kind of like just slowed down so much that, you know, you just have to let it sit there for a few minutes. You can sort of watch it warm up and start to get some life back to it and eventually run away. But yeah, they'll get where you'll see them kind of try to move, but they can't move. But no, they do all right. Bugs lighten up a little bit in the winter, you know, like mosquitoes and stuff. But there's still gonna be plenty of bugs even after we get a frost or freeze or something. It doesn't stay cold long enough. You know, it gets cold like that for a couple of hours, you know, in the middle of the night when all the bugs and lizards are tucked away. So it just doesn't hold long enough.
In the spring it'll start warming up, and then like the wasps will start building their nests, but you'll still get those mornings where it's down in like in the 50s. It's nice and cool. So if you see wasps, like what I'll do is if I see wasps swarming around, I'll find their nest and then wait for a nice cool morning when it's like 50 degrees, go find the nest and just crush them. Because it's too cold for them to get up to speed and like fly away. So they're just like, no, smash.
Do you eat it?
Snuff out the problem before it becomes a problem. My kids think I'm nuts. They're like, you just grabbed a wasp nest and crushed it with your hand. I'm like, yeah. It's the way you assert dominance. That way they know don't fucking come back.
I've got a giant wasp nest by the door of one of my sheds, and like it's because the same shed, like there's always a giant wasp nest there, and I've never been stung there. I've even had one where like it's in the door frame, and when you shut the door, it, you know, boom, the wasp nest wiggles, like it hits the wasp nest, and they don't fuck with you. And it's like I always feel so bad. Like the only time I ever kill them is like we have guests or something, or gonna be hanging out, and I want like them to get stung. But like I don't know, man. I just feel bad like killing them if they're not like a problem, or I don't think they're gonna be a problem, because you know they do shit. They eat spiders and stuff. You know, they're part of the ecosystem. It's the ones that you catch by surprise. Those are the ones that sting you. You know, when you didn't know there was a nest there. So I don't know. I'm always a little torn. I don't have kids and shit running around too, though. So.
I have dumbasses that are gonna be running wild and doing crazy shit, and they're gonna get stung. So
a little kid getting stung by a wasp sucks so bad because like it's gonna be fine, but like a lot of kids are pussies and they just really scream about it. So you got, oh, let me put some baking soda and water on it. That'll help. But yeah, it's a pain. I remember I used to get stung a lot when I was a kid, and I got used to it. But like I had a friend coming to visit, and he got stung. And I was, oh, it's like not quite a tantrum, but a pretty big freak out about it. Like it's fine. Yes, it hurts. It'll be fine. Give it 30 minutes, it'll just be itchy.
I grew up out in the country, and we almost never wore shoes, and we always had a lot of clover and stuff out in the yard and in the fields around and stuff, and so there would always be like bees and stinging insects all out in the yard and out in the fields, and me and my brother just run around barefoot all the time. Just feet get stung all the time. And after a while, you don't even notice it. It's like, oh, stepped on something.
Yeah, I can't do the barefoot thing. It's funny. I probably said this before, but like when I've been to like Clyde's place, like he ain't kidding, dude. That motherfucker don't wear shoes. Like we like stepping in raw chicken shit and stuff. Like it's nothing. I'm like, ah. I was tripping on mushrooms or something, I probably wouldn't wear shoes, but that's a different story. He just doesn't by default.
I guess
I was talking about it with a friend the other day who doesn't wear shoes, and his dad doesn't wear shoes, and they don't wear shoes anywhere, like in the woods or whatever, and that's like where I definitely wear shoes. But, I was telling him like there was a time when I was like 17, 18 where I pretty much didn't wear shoes because, it was my halfway hippie phase, and I was doing a lot of hallucinogens, but there is a point when you don't wear shoes a lot where your feet get really used to it, and it's not a big deal. Like you can step on shit and your feet just get so hard. And I had times where someone would be like, hey dude, like you're bleeding, and I look back and there's just like footprints of blood, like behind me, and it's like, oh shit, like you don't even realize cut yourself on a bottle or something. Dude, so it's so funny you say that, man, because that's actually come up a couple times. Talking to somebody the other day, and they were like, oh yeah, what do they call it, grounding or earthing or some fancy hippie word for it. But they're like, yeah, we used to, when we were, more less technologically advanced, we always touched the earth a lot. Now it's rare. Even someone like me who like does like farming, like unless I'm putting my hands in it, I don't really touch it much because I wear boots. But yeah, if I'm on mushrooms and it's like, oh yeah, I want to go touch the ground, bare feet, like it feels good, definitely. But yeah, I guess people have like pillows and blankets that like plug into like the wall and like the grounding socket, so that when they sleep at night, they're being grounded. And it's supposed to be, therapeutic. I say just go outside with bare feet like once a day. But, some people don't have that option if they live in the city.
Yeah.
They might not have unpaved ground, and then the unpaved ground is probably full of needles and razor blades. So, you don't really want to walk barefoot in it.
Right. That's.
Dude, I was talking to this guy, and he's, God bless him, as conspiracy theorist as you get, but almost too much so, where you just can't even have a conversation about anything, But he was like, man, like, fuck doctors and this and that, which, I'm pretty much on the same page in a lot of instances. But, he was one of the people who asked me when I told him I was having a artificial valve put in if I tried holistic methods instead. And I was like, I'm all for holistic stuff, dude, but it ain't growing back a section of heart. Like it's not going to regenerate my heart valve. I just don't think that's going to happen. So, but he's like, yeah, man, no, like it's sun exposure, vitamin D. It's what's good for you. He's like, I had a sore throat, right? So instead of going and taking antibiotics, just every morning when the sun was at the right angle, I'd go out and open my mouth and let the sun hit the back of my throat. And within like 3-4 days, I felt better. It's like, like the amount of time it takes for a sore throat or cold to run its course, and I'm not even against like the practice of getting sun when you're sick or if you have a sore throat, doing that, letting the sun hit it. It might be very good for it. I'm not even doubting that, but just that be the conclusion, if you said like after one day I felt better. Okay, well, that's a better argument. But after 3 or 4 days, I'm like, I don't know, man, you're not making a great case here.
Oh, Wayne says crystals stimulate valve growth.
You've got to insert them rectally. You got to get the full crystal. Oh shit!
I can't say anything during the summer. During the summer, like if I'm not at work and I'm not sitting right here in front of this talking to people, I don't have clothes on. I've got some of those nice Tom Selleck shorts that come up about like almost fingertip length on my thigh, and
Nice.
and some old ready yard working shoes, and that's it. That's all I will not have any clothes on other than that. And I spend
You
basically
got
my
some good
entire
leg
day
hair to rock
outside.
those. Good bristly leg hair.
Hell yeah! So yeah, I spend pretty much my entire days outside when it's warm. I go inside just long enough to like fill my water bottle up and get something to eat, and then I'm like, I just spend the whole day outside. And then my wife and kids are like, "Why are you so dark?" I'm like, "Because I'm outside 10 hours a day. Like, try it. It's amazing."
Yeah, you look like it. I know, you got to keep that face covered.
Well,
I was
here's
gonna
the
say, like,
problem.
why haven't we done any news? But then I realized you're probably on like your phone or something, huh?
No, I'm sitting here. I got a bunch of shit pulled up.
Oh,
Um,
I thought you said you're having internet issues.
So
Spigot water. Now, I will say if it's city spigot water, I'm too good for it. But if it's well water, oh yeah, all
well,
about
see,
it. Even
the
through an
problem
old
with
dirty hose.
the spigots are usually both hooked up to watering the gardens and stuff. So, I mean, when I'm mowing or stuff, or working in the garden, like I'll take a break and grab the hose. But I try to keep
Pull off the hose.
I try to keep bottles of water handy. That way I feel like if I'm drinking from a bottle, I'm more likely to drink the right. Yeah.
I filled this from the hose though, in fairness. So I'll use like the same bottle and just refill it all day.
Well, I mean, and out here it's the same water coming out of the hose that's coming out of the tap in the house. So it's not like makes a big difference.
Yeah, so if it's a hose you use too, it's one thing if you haven't turned it on in 3 weeks and it's like full of spiders and dirt. I want to let that puppy run a little bit. We will. It's like the nursery rhyme or whatever. Oh, spiders come flying out of the spigots. They like to go in there and make their nests. The elf talk went on for a while.
Well, we can transition away from elves and talk about leprechauns since there's been some crazy shit going on in Ireland over the weekend.
Is it actually leprechaun centric or is that just a tacit connection?
No, it's actually Middle Eastern immigrant centric.
Oh.
So, did you see any of this? Three kids got stabbed by Middle Eastern immigrants, as has been the case in much of Europe for the last several years since they started just mass importing hundreds of thousands of immigrants in for no reason at all. And
do these tend to be, quote unquote, like refugee kind of situations?
Yeah, but the crazy thing is, like, you would think in like a refugee crisis, the people who would be coming would be like women and children, not, 20 and 30-year-old men.
Yeah.
So anyway,
well, I'm not even saying that that's accurate. I'm just saying if nothing else, the pretense or something, If that's
right. That's that's the pretense. Is it's an it's a refugee.
I need to make sure I can still make the argument that it's because we cause so much problems in the Middle East. So I just gotta, lay down the tracking for that,
Yes, and I mean, arguably, it's deliberate that it's 20 and 30-year-old men that are being that are leaving from there and being put in all of these other countries because
Right.
that's going to be the primary resistance force against everything that we would be doing. So yeah, we got to uproot these motherfuckers and go put them in Sweden and Germany and Ireland and France. So Ireland had stabbings. 3 kids got stabbed, and I saw some statistics the other day, like white Irish are now a minority. Like they only make up 42% of the population of Ireland. Like
there couldn't have been that many of them in the first place, right?
right. But the
I
Irish,
know they're Catholic and all, but like still, like it's like I just feel like you could have told me there's only 2 million Irish people in Ireland or Irish people or something, and I believe you. It's not a big place. I don't think it's densely populated.
So the Irish are now officially the minority on the island of Ireland, and they've been supplanted by Middle Eastern immigrants. And so after this stabbing, I guess the Irish decided, all right, fuck this shit. We're gonna go back to some of our more riotous ways. Like, you know, we used to blow up shit with car bombs and things. Like we know how to fight back, and they've kind of lost their patience and have started fighting back. And then not only in Ireland, but a similar thing was happening in France over the weekend too. A lot of and it's also the reason why the ultra MAGA alt-right Meloni won in Italy last year, and Germany is looking like it's about to swing right-wing nationalist in whenever they have their next election. Like, what was it? There was another. Doggone it! Why am I drawing a blank? There was another country that just had an election like a week or so ago that had a right-wing nationalist win by a significant margin. Like the immigrant crisis has created so many other crises that now all of these European countries are swinging very hardcore nationalistic and ready to start deporting people. So it's an interesting thing that's happening over there.
Just sucks all around, man. Because it's like, you know, I'll even like go to bat for the immigrants here. It's like it sucks for them, like that they had to be forced to leave where they were fucking living, you know, like their home, go to some other place. And there's always issues like this when a population moves like that, especially depending on the demographics. But there's, you know, like of crime and things like that, you know, it fucking happens. And then the people who live there get pissed off, and understandably so. And again, a lot of the immigrants, if not most of the immigrants, probably haven't really done anything wrong. But then, you know, violence or hatred towards them happens, and then they have to move again, you know. Hopefully that's all that happens to them, is they have to move. But it just fucking sucks, man. It sucks for the people who live in the country and get their shit fucked up. It sucks for the fucking, you know, the immigrants or people who have to leave because, you know, their home's getting fucked up. I don't know, man. It's just shitty. And then people cheer for dickhead iron fist governments. But it's understandable. You know, like I'm not even necessarily faulting anybody. You know, it just sucks. Can't we all get along, man?
No. No. Human history has proven that we absolutely cannot.
Yep.
Oh gosh, I can't remember. It was a friend of mine made the argument that we were talking about gun control or something along those lines, and a friend of mine made the argument like we're more evolved than that. I'm like, no, we're not. We never have been. As a species, we've never been more evolved than that. Like this is absolutely our default. Like the fact that we are peaceful, as peaceful as we are currently, is kind of impressive. Like this has not been the case for like all of human history. We don't let shit go. We don't play nice with each other.
Man, I just finished that book that I was working on about the expulsion of the Acadians. It's called A Great and Noble Scheme. and it was really fucking good, man. But yeah, it's basically the if people don't know the story, it's this group of Catholic, they were from France originally, but they were living in Canada, and they had a small area, and they were pretty well free and plentiful and blah blah blah, and did their thing. And it's like every like 5 years, like somebody from like France would show up and be like, "What the fuck? You're not flying the French flag? Like, fly the French flag and take this oath and say you're French." And they're like, "We can still be Catholic and we don't have to take up arms against anybody, right?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure." It's like, "Okay, cool, we're French." And then like 5 years later, somebody from England would show up and be like, "What the fuck is this French flag shit? You hoist this British flag and take this oath." And they're like, "We can be Catholic and we don't have to, take up arms, right?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure." And they're, "Okay, fine, we're British." And that sort of went on like every 5 years for like decades, and then politics ensued, and the British decided that they were going to resettle the area with Protestants, good pure Protestants. So they decided that to basically expel the Acadians, kick them out. But you can't really take a people who have lived somewhere for generations and like say, "Hey, we're going to live here now, and you're going to either be our slaves or live nearby," because of course people want to go return to their homeland, and they will do so by force, and so they decided that they had to like fracture them up. So they were going to ship them all over the, this was the 1750s at this point. They were going to ship them all over the colonies, and some of them back to France and this and that. And like half of them died in transit, like they were shipping them like the Middle Passage kind of thing, and like half of them died in transit from like disease or shipwreck or what the fuck ever. And the whole thing is a fucking nightmare, but it is like, it does like fit to a T, like the definition of ethnic cleansing, I guess it was one of like the first times that happened like in North America. But it's crazy, and it's a lot of parallels like to other stories that have happened. England kind of learned a big lesson from this on why you can't do that. There might be, I definitely had some type of feelings about like the current thing going on in like the Middle East, as far as trying to occupy lands and resettle it with a different religion, and sort of some of the blowback that can happen from that. Like, oh, some people haven't quite learned this lesson yet. Why are they so mad? It's like, go figure. But yeah, man. But really interesting story. Really good book. If anybody does want to check it out.
I saw somebody that was making the argument like that the UN and the US did all this, had all these like peace accords and things in that part of the world that you're kind of vaguely referencing. Mm-hmm. And the people who had been inhabiting that place rejected those and didn't want the current inhabitants to weren't just going to give up and let the current inhabitants have it just because the UN and the US said, "Here's these peace accords so y'all can all get along and they're going to move in here now." It's like, yeah, no shit. Like that, making that as the argument for why the ones who are currently there belong there is because the ones who had been there before rejected these peace accords and stuff. It's like, yeah, why the fuck would they not? Like, you're going to tell me that the people who are half a fucking world away are going to come in and say, "Look, we got this piece of paper and it says y'all are all going to get along. You just have to get the fuck out and let them come in." Like, yeah, I would absolutely not be on board with that either.
It's obvious they just hate peace.
Yeah, it's probably because they're it's probably because they're anti-Semitic. If they weren't so anti-Semitic, they would have willingly and gladly given up all of their land to have peace. It might actually be because they're not retarded.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.